Let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we're unpacking how one nation is strategically building the absolute gold standard for a massive global industry. We're talking about the halal market. It's an economic powerhouse that impacts everything from the food on our plates to massive global trade deals. But what actually goes on behind the scenes to make all of that work? Well, we are decoding the blueprint. So let's start with a massive and honestly kinda surprising global problem. When you think of international trade, you probably imagine strict, universal guidelines, right? But if you're a business trying to export a halal product today, whose rule book do you actually follow? Who really sets the undisputed standard?
What's truly wild here is the sheer scale of the opportunity. The data shows a critical gap. Right now, there is absolutely no single reference point globally accepted as the industry standard for halal products. Imagine a multi-billion-dollar international market just operating without a unified dictionary. It's essentially a Wild West of certification, which obviously creates mass confusion for consumers and huge hurdles for producers.
So to understand how Malaysia plans to step up and fix this, here's our quick roadmap. 1. The global halal gap. 2. The key institutional players. 3. Developing the gold standard. 4. Building a halal ecosystem. And 5. Expanding global reach.
Kicking things off with Part 1, the global halal gap, and seizing the opportunity. Malaysia's direct answer to all this global ambiguity is the MS 1500 standard, specifically the 2004 standard, which got a revision in 2009. They aren't just sitting around waiting for the world to agree, they've actively taken the lead. And here's the kicker, this standard isn't just some regulatory hoop to jump through. It's a highly strategic business tool. It's literally designed to help Malaysian producers leverage their compliance so they instantly stand out from competitors worldwide. It's a built-in competitive advantage right there on the global shelf.
Moving on to Part 2, the key institutional players, the architects of the standard.
Because, let's be real, a standard is only as strong as the institutions backing it up. This all starts right at the top with the Department of Standards Malaysia. Governed under the Standards of Malaysia Act of 1996, this government department sets the visionary direction. They are the national standardization and accreditation body. And their mandate isn't just about religious compliance, it's heavily economic. They're explicitly tasked with fostering standards to advance the national economy, promote industrial efficiency, protect consumers, and really grease the wheels for domestic and international trade.
But the Department of Standards doesn't do all the heavy lifting alone. If the department is the visionary architect, Syrian Berhad is the builder. They are the officially appointed agent. Their job is to physically develop, distribute, and sell these Malaysian standards. They take those high-level regulatory mandates and translate them into actual, tangible frameworks that businesses can use on the ground.
It's a beautiful example of a clear structural separation of powers, which is exactly what makes Malaysia's system so robust. The government provides the heavy-duty regulatory and legal umbrella, while Syrian Berhad, as a dedicated operational agent, handles the commercial and developmental execution. It intentionally keeps the rule makers separate from the rule distributors, ensuring laser focus and efficiency across the board.
Part 3. Developing the gold standard and building consensus.
So how do you actually get an entire global market full of diverse voices to trust a standard? You do it through rigorous, structured consensus. These Malaysian standards are built by committees featuring a truly balanced mix of producers, users, consumers, and other relevant groups. It's not just a top-down mandate. Plus, wherever possible, they align with or completely adopt existing international standards. This is such a crucial detail. It means their framework is legally anchored by that 1996 Act, incredibly fair, and, interestingly enough, completely voluntary to use, unless a specific regulatory authority decides to step in and make it mandatory.
Let's hit Part 4, building a halal ecosystem, moving beyond the rulebook. We need to zoom out a bit here, because any good strategist knows that having a brilliant rulebook just sitting on a shelf isn't going to cut it. To dominate globally, you absolutely need a thriving physical environment to support the actual production of those certified goods. Under the RMK9 Integrated Development Plan, the government isn't just printing certificates, they're systemically developing the entire value chain. They've pinpointed specific states like Kedah, Perlis, Pulau Pinang, Perak, and Pahang to lead the charge in the halal food industry. They are literally building localized, highly integrated geographic powerhouses of production.
If you're following along from a business perspective, this is the ultimate playbook of a government actively investing in its supply chain. They're setting up a unified halal authority to wipe out any legal and technical ambiguities. They're pushing massive outreach programs targeted directly at SMEs to teach them baseline standards like HACCP, GMP, and GHP. They're providing the deep institutional support required to guide local companies through brutal compliance checks, basically transforming everyday local businesses into fierce global contenders.
And finally, Part 5, Expanding Global Reach, the International Playbook.
All right, so we've got the standard, the institutions, and the localized ecosystem. Now check out this 3-step masterclass in international trade strategy. Step 1. Continuously loop in industry leaders to update the standard, mirroring the proven ISO development model. Step 2. Aggressively leverage Malaysia's powerful role within the OIC, the Organization of the Islamic Conference, to push for standard acceptance among member nations. And Step 3. Methodically weave mutual recognition of their halal standard right into bilateral and regional free trade agreements. They are systematically making their framework the default language of halal trade across the globe.
So what's the big takeaway from all this? We started by looking at a massive global market operating completely without a unified standard. But as international trade continues to explode and consumer demand for absolute, rock-solid standard conformance hits new highs, you really have to wonder, with this highly structured, legally backed, and honestly brilliantly executed institutional master plan, will Malaysia's framework forever change the future of the multi-billion-dollar halal industry? It certainly looks like they've built the perfect engine to do exactly that. Thanks for tuning into this explainer. Keep learning and keep questioning the systems that run our world.